In this chapter, we will learn how to publish our website on a remote web server and how to make it available to everyone around the world. To do this, we will need three things: the domain name, web hosting, and FTP client. During this course, we've been using the fake domain name which we've created for our virtual host. It was called phpcourse.dev. The virtual host allowed us to test our website locally, but if someone was to type this fake domain name in a web browser on any other computer, they would not be able to access our website. This is because it is not the domain that's actually registered anywhere. To publish our website on a web server, we first have to purchase the real domain name. But before we do that, let's first discuss how domains work. When someone types the domain name in a web browser, most browsers automatically prepend the protocol with colon and 2 forward slashes to it. There are two protocols that allow us to view our website in a web browser. These are HTTP, which stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol, and HTTPS, which is Secure Hypertext Transfer Protocol. HTTPS is usually used with credit card transactions or logins where data that travels between user computer and a web server needs to be encrypted. Each domain can also have a number of subdomains, most common being www, which is less popular these days. Subdomain part is prepended to the main domain with a full stop in between. You can use multiple subdomains to point to a different website stored on the same or a different web server. Domain name consists of two parts: main custom name, which you will be able to choose, and the extension or top-level domain, TLD for short. There is a large number of extensions to choose from, and you can choose whichever you feel will work best for your project. Each domain points to one or more servers using their IP addresses. IP address allows us to identify the right server for a given service associated with the domain. For instance, website might be stored on one server, while email on another. Both will have different IP addresses. When you call a website by typing a domain name in your web browser, your internet service provider looks up the IP address for the web server associated with the domain name and then redirects your request to this server. Depending on your web hosting setup, you might be able to access your website by just typing the IP address in your web browser. However, domain names are easier to remember than a combination of numbers or alphanumerical characters, which is the case with version 6 of IP addresses. Apart from the domain name, our website will need a web hosting. Web hosting is a service that provides storage space and usually 24/7 access to your website over the internet to anyone in the world. The storage provided by the web hosting service comes with the server software installed, such as, for instance, Apache Web Server and PHP Parser, which allows it to parse our code to the output that's later sent back to the visitor's web browser. And the last piece of the puzzle when it comes to publishing our website on a web server is the FTP client software. FTP stands for File Transfer Protocol, and as the name suggests, it is used to transfer files over the internet. FTP client allows us to transfer files between our computer and a web server by simply dragging and dropping them between two windows. Now that we have a better understanding of what this chapter covers, let's move to the next video where we will first obtain the domain name and the web hosting.